Today, I want to talk about, do you ever wonder if Jesus is enough? Life gets heavy, things get difficult. Do you ever wonder if Jesus is still enough in this modern age? Because I think that there are moments when life does not feel inspiring at all. It feels heavy. It feels loud in your mind and empty in your chest at the same time. You wake up tired before the day even starts. You carry things that you don't talk about, things like bills, pressure, regrets, fears, family problems. The one heartbreak that still has a grip on you, or that prayer you prayed 100 times and still do not have an answer for. And somewhere in the middle of all that, you hear people say, Jesus is enough. But if you're being honest, part of you may wonder, enough for what? Enough for a church service on Sunday? Enough for a quote? Or enough for this actual life I'm dragging around right now? And you know what? That's a real question. That's honesty. Not the polished version or a spiritual version people throw out when they want to sound deep. It's a real question. And is Jesus enough when your mind will not slow down? Is Jesus enough when the money is tight and the stress is real? Is Jesus enough when people let you down and life does not look anything like what you hoped it would look like by now? Is Jesus enough when you're trying to stay strong on the outside, but inside you feel worn thin? I think a lot of people have asked that question quietly, some out loud, and sometimes with tears, sometimes with anger, and sometimes with almost no strength left. And I think one of the hardest parts is that many of us have already prayed. We already believed. We already tried to trust God. Yet we still hurt. We still carry disappointments. We still have days where we feel alone in the middle of our own life. So when somebody says Jesus is enough, it can almost feel too simple, too neat, and way too easy. Maybe the problem is not that Jesus is too small. Maybe the problem is that we have heard that sentence so many times in shallow ways that we forget what it really means. Now, it does not mean that your pain is fake. It does not mean your loss does not matter. It does not mean if you trust Jesus, you will skip grief, pressure, heartbreak, confusion, and float through life untouched. That is not real life. And deep down, you know it, I know it. What it means is that there is someone stronger than the thing crushing you. What it means is that the weight of your life is not bigger than the one holding your life. What it means is that Jesus does not look at your fear and back away from it. He does not look at your exhaustion and say, come back when you're more put together. He steps right into the middle of the mess, the shame, the confusion, the weakness, the weariness, and he is not intimidated by any of that. And you know what? That matters. Because some people think they need a stronger version of themselves. They think the answer is to get more disciplined, more focused, more motivated, more emotionally steady, or more spiritually impressive. Then, and maybe then, they'll be okay. Then maybe they will actually feel peace. But most of us have already tried being our own answer. And I want to ask you a question. How's that working for you? You can work harder and still feel empty. You can stay busy and still feel lonely. You can act fine and still be falling apart inside. You can even believe in God and still feel deeply tired. That is why this matters so much. If the answer is just more effort from you, then you're in trouble because there are seasons where you do not have enough left. That is where Jesus becomes more than an idea. He becomes the one who stays when everything else feels shaky. He becomes the one who does not change with your mood, your bank account, your health, your heartbreak, your unanswered questions, or your worst week. He becomes the one who can hold you together when you do not feel strong enough to hold yourself together. And no, that does not always happen in a dramatic moment. Sometimes it does, but sometimes God breaks through in a way that leaves no doubt. But a lot of time, it's quieter than that. And it's waking up and realizing you're still here, and it's having just enough strength for one more day, or it's not losing your mind in the middle of something that should have taken you under. It is finding a strange steadiness that should not be there, but somehow it is. And that's not nothing. You know what? That's Jesus being enough in a way real life can understand. Enough does not always mean he removes the burden overnight. Sometimes enough means he gives you what you need to keep walking while you carry it. Sometimes enough means he meets you in the dark instead of snapping his fingers and turning it into noon. Sometimes enough means you are still wounded, but not abandoned. Still tired, but not alone. Still in the fight, but not empty-handed. And I know that's hard for some people to hear because they want the pain gone by now. Maybe that's you. And maybe you've done the praying. You've done the believing. You've done the waiting. And now you're tired of pretty words. And I totally understand that. I've been there many times myself. But this is not a pretty word today. This is survival. This is truth for the person who cannot carry their own life much longer. Jesus is enough. Not because your life is easy or because he is still who he is when life is hard. He is still near you when you feel forgotten. He is still faithful when you feel disappointed. He is still strong when you feel weak. He's still kind when life feels cruel. And he is still present when everything in you says you are alone. And that's what makes him enough. Not the absence of pain, his presence in it. And maybe that's the shift that somebody needs today. Maybe you keep measuring whether Jesus is enough by asking if everything changed. But maybe the better question is this: has he left me? Has he failed me? Has he stopped being Christ because I am in pain? And the answer clearly is no. He has not left you. No. He has not been shaken by what shook you. He's not become smaller because your problems feel bigger. He's not late just because you are hurting. And no, your exhaustion is not proof that he is absent. Sometimes the strongest faith is not loud. It's not polished and it's not smiling through everything. Sometimes the strongest faith is a tired person whispering, Jesus, I do not have much left, but I am still here, and I still need you. And that kind of honesty, oh, it goes a long way in heaven. It matters. You do not have to pretend with him. You do not have to clean up your emotions before you come to him. You do not have to act brave when you're scared. You do not have to act strong when you're worn out. Bring the real thing. Bring the real you. Bring the pressure, the fear, the sadness, the anger. Bring the disappointment. Bring the unanswered prayer. Bring the whole weight of your real life. And watch what he does with real surrender. I'm telling you, because Jesus is not enough in a fake, polished, churchy way. He's enough in hospital rooms. He's enough in lonely apartments. He's enough in your financial stress. He's enough in grief. He's enough in regret. He is enough in family tension and when you are trying not to break in front of people. Enough when you finally do break. So, if life feels heavy right now, I want you to hear me clearly. The fact that it is heavy does not mean Jesus is not enough. It means you need him more honestly than ever. And that's not weakness. It's wisdom. It's reality. It's where real strength starts. So come to him as you are, not cleaned up and not polished or pretending. Just be honest. Be tired if you are, but be real. Because the life you are carrying may be heavy, but Jesus is not small. He is enough. My name is Douglas Vandergraph, and I believe in Jesus Christ. God bless every single one of you. Every single one.